Hi, this is Jackie Murray with Ask a Tech Teacher. I'm your guide through these 32 lessons in the Structured Learning Technology curriculum. This is fifth grade and this is lesson 27. It's the fourth on image editing. We take a lot of time with image editing because it's important as part of their digital citizenship training. They need to understand that they can't just grab images off the internet. So creating them, tweaking images that they find in the public domain and tweaking them so they fit their needs is a much better solution. So we take a lot of time with this. It's very fun, and students tend to really enjoy this set of lessons. So there's a lot of extras, new skills, and these are very dependent upon what image editing tool you use. So if you don't have actions or hue and saturation, history brush, then these might not apply to you, but you'll look at your image editing tool and see which of these are available, and that will be the new skill you're talking about. So how can image editing become the killer app that pulls reluctant students into technology? Absolutely does. Your artists, your creative folks, they will love these four lessons. And this one especially because we really get into a lot of depth on the type of things that they can do. You're going to go through lessons on blurring, a couple different ways: hue and saturation, history brush, and actions. Now, these very much depend upon what you have available in the tools you're using. So blurring, you can blur part or all of the image. This is an example from LunaPic, PicMonkey, Sumo Paint, Pixlr. So all of these blur, you just have to decide which is your tool and how do you blur it in your tool. So you can see the advantage of being able to blur it. This could be a blurred out part of a bigger collage of pictures. Down here, you might have the whole picture blurred, and then you're able to paint back or crop or clone a part of the picture that isn't blurred, like this runner. He isn't blurred, the rest of them are, so he stands out. Same with these giraffes. The whole picture behind them is blurred, but not the giraffes. So blurring can be very effective. You just have to adapt it to your tool. Very often this is easy to do in your tool. Some of them, like this particular one, could be a little more complicated if you're using Photoshop, but not too complicated for fifth graders. Hue and saturation is the next one. That means the amount of color that's in a picture. So this very often is done automatically. These are 3 samples of a picture that's 3 different ways. These are done in 4 different image editors, whichever one you have. Pixlr, LunaPic, PicMonkey, Sumo Paint, they all have them. So you just have to bring up your tool and say, okay, this is how we do it in my tool. By 5th grade, you probably have a little more sophisticated tool, like not ABC Paint, but rather Sumo Paint or GIMP or Photoshop, one of the versions of Photoshop. History brush is probably just if you're using Photoshop. I don't know how many other tools, and I'd like you to tell me if your tool that you use allows you to start with an original picture, then gray it out, hue and saturation, take it back to grays, and then paint back to the original picture so it really stands out. The only one I know that allows that to happen is Photoshop. Would you just drop me a line real quick if yours allows you to do this? Because I'd like to know that. Actions are steps that the program does automatically for you. There are tons of them, and most programs, image editing programs, have these. This is Photoshop, where they do it in put a frame up or quadrant colors or blur parts of it. And this one is in Sumo Paint. This one's in Big Huge Labs, PicMonkey, LunaPic. There's so many options, really clever options. So pick your tool and then show students how to do this clever stuff with the tool. They will just love it. Backgrounds, you're going to have one picture that you do different things to, and drill back to it. You're going to have, so you apply a variety of backgrounds. Here's all the backgrounds we do. So we first make it plain, then we make it a solid color, then we make it a a different look and gradients and all sorts of different things. And then you drill down through those. So you're displaying the different looks on one look. This is especially nice if you're doing one like this, where you have a picture in the background, you have a layer over it that's a solid color, and then you paint back to that original picture in a shape like this. So this is a very fun one, and I'll tell you how simple it is. I learned it from a student. They did it, and then I thought, that's cooler than anything I was showing them. So these are backgrounds. They can be done in different tools, simpler in Photoshop, but other tools, any tool that has layers like this will allow you to do this. That's about it. How are the exit ticket? How are the image effects in 165? So here's some samples of what you could do depending upon your image editing tool. So have the students look at these and then see if they can figure out which one applies to their particular image editing tool. Experiment with the tools, do a couple different things, play around, only for a couple minutes. That's all you're going to do. So it's not so much, this one's obvious, the blurring one's obvious. Some of these are real obvious. The effects ones are obvious. And then the rest you go, hey, how did they do that? So that is it. We have a really fun project next week. So this, likely you're going to pick one of these. If you have more than once a week with students, you can pick multiple ones. You can see here this example, which I'm looking at the student workbook right now, but this shows a sample of all of the tools used there, so they get an idea of what they're talking about. All right, guys. If you need help on any of these in your particular tool or in Photoshop, let me know. I'd be happy to meet you during office hours on Sunday and go over these with you. Okay. Have a great week. Have a lot of fun with this lesson. Really cool. And then we'll wrap it up next week in a fun collaborative project. Okay, talk to you later. See you in a week.